What's up today, boys and girls? Today I'm going to show you what I do to gear this thing up for a truck pull. And the best of it is we geared this all up yesterday to go to the truck pulls, and the slide ended up breaking before we got called up. So the first thing we want to do is get a little bit of extra weight in the front end, obviously. So that's easy to figure out. And this probably wasn't enough weight, it was just some, but ideally you probably want about 500 pounds hanging off the front of your truck. But I've got this bumper and heavy winch, so that helps. The next thing we want to do is we want to get in here underneath the truck back below, and you want to let your torsion bars adjustments down. So you want to loosen those bolts off, and that'll drop the front of your truck. And when you drop the front of your truck, it'll put your tie rod and your steering bar at a much straighter angle so that you don't have as much chance of bending that stuff up. And if you don't have these beefed up tie rods like I do, this is a very, very, very weak link in a Chev truck, this IFS front suspension. So if your truck's in line when it's raised, when you lower it, it'll actually kind of pigeon toe your wheels out, as you can see. But when you're in four-wheel drive and you start putting strain on things, your wheel will actually kick this way. So this is about perfect for the application. And again, I'm really upset I didn't get to pull, because I spent the best part of the morning yesterday gearing this up. The next thing we want to do is you want to lower the tire pressure in all your tires. And as you can see, I got a little bit of sag there in that front one now, but I had to drive it home and I didn't have a compressor with me over at the pulls, so I didn't want to drop them too much. But ideally, probably like 15-20 pounds is all you want when you're pulling. Another thing I did, which I probably didn't do it properly. I know I didn't actually. Oh look, one fell out in the drive home last night, so there you go. But the other thing you want to do is block your rear end. And I just simply set a 4x4 underneath the bump stops once I get over there. But ideally what I should have done, just for a quick setup, is I should have wrapped a ratchet strap up around the frame and down underneath the rear end to prevent it from lifting, because all this does here is prevent it from dropping. So if you get in a situation where your rear end hops, or you know, I drove 30 miles home last night because I didn't feel like crawling underneath the truck and trying to pick it up with my back and pull them blocks out, potentially those could fall out. But I've seen a lot of guys do different things. Sometimes they just put a real big heavy duty adjustment piece of threaded rod and they put it down to the leaf spring. A lot of guys, everybody does their own thing. Obviously the true pulling trucks are geared up all solid frame, there's no leaf springs in them, the crazy stuff that you see in the videos. But as far as the street trucks go, you just basically want to try to keep the back end of the truck up high and have it that it can't move, and hope that you don't break your frame in the process. But as you can see, we've got a much different stance than what we normally have. The front end is quite a bit lower, back end's way up, and then when you start to pull, it'll pick the front of the truck, and away you go. So again, pretty upset that I didn't get to try this out yesterday, because most of the time I just pull in off the street and don't prepare at all. Last year we bent the steering gear all up in the truck, not the tie rods, but the center rod and the lift brackets. So anyway, now I got to undo everything I did, which is pretty easy for the most part. Just put some air back in the tires, crank my torsion bar adjustments back up, and take the blocks out.